What's up, guys? Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. So maybe you're one of the guys out there watching Washboard Wednesday that hates training their abs. Believe it or not, there's a lot of you out there, and there's a couple reasons why. Either you don't like the way it feels when you train your abs, the burn that you get is just so unpleasant that you try to avoid it at all costs, or more likely you're one of the guys that says, look, I've got a distinct amount of time that I've got available to train each day, and that's all I've got. And if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna spend my time getting more bang for my buck. I'm gonna work on my entire body and let the abs kind of fall where they may. You don't have to make that decision. You aren't forced to make that choice, because I'm gonna show you 5 ways that even guys that hate training their abs can start training them starting today. Okay, kicking off this list at number 5 is staggered ab training. This is really, really easy to do, because if you think about what it is that you do between your sets, you realize, wow, what a great opportunity you have to do something that you haven't been doing, and that is your abs. You can take any exercise in any workout. Right here I'm demonstrating a squat. I finish up a set of squats, and as miserable as it may seem, I go over here and I do have my rest period to grab onto a bar and do some lower ab work. Now, my abs are very rested here. Yes, they're engaged in a squat, but not to the extent that you're gonna be working them here, so they're not pre-fatigued. You can go bang out your set here, take a little extra time, get back into your squats. Again, if you're training heavy anyway, you're gonna wanna take a little bit of extra time between your sets as it is. So why don't you take at least one of those 2 to 3 minutes you might be hanging out in between your strength sets and do a set of ab work. Number 4 is something we can incorporate into our conditioning work. And a lot of people now have found the value and finally tapped into the value of carries as a great way of doing conditioning. So you can do unweighted, unbalanced carries and get a great 1-2 combo here. You're getting your conditioning effect, but at the same time, you're really getting a heavy dose of ab and core stability, really that lateral pillar strength, because you're unweighting one side relative to the other. Maybe 20 pounds on one side, 80 pounds on the other, or even higher, obviously, if you can handle it, and working on your conditioning at the same time that you're getting your ab work in. There's no excuse and no reason why you can't make this small little tweak to your farmer's carries to get that much more bang for your buck when it comes to your abs. Number 3, and the next obvious place to go, is to make your ab training a little bit more fun. And we can do that with explosive ab training. Generally, the explosive ab movements, like a medicine ball throw here, or like these medicine ball slams side to side, these are generally more interactive, fun exercises. You become more of a participant in them. They don't feel as boring and mundane as maybe just sitting there doing crunches. So if you can trick yourself into actually having fun, which is very easy to do with these explosive exercises, incorporating them into your routine for at least even a few extra sets each week shouldn't be all that hard, and it's a great way for you to kind of sneak in a little bit more ab work. Talking about sneaking in some ab work, a lot of what we do in the gym can actually be instantly turned into more ab-focused training just by changing the positioning of our body in space. You see, our legs are really, really responsible for providing stability and support from below. But if we actually take them out of the equation, we can get a lot more work done by the next link up in that chain, which is our core and our abs, for adding that stability and becoming a lot more involved in what we do. So I'll do basically an overhead work. Any overhead work will engage our core because we're causing more disturbance up above that requires more stability down below. And again, if we've taken the legs out of it, we can actually get that from our core. We can do it here just by sitting on the ground with our legs out in front of us and doing our shoulder presses that way, as opposed to having to always do them standing. You can see my core is much more active this way. I'm still just doing this as part of my shoulder work, but I'm getting my abs to be more involved, sort of in a way that we never even thought we would. And we could even take it a little step further than that, jump up on a pull-up bar. You guys know how I've talked about many times, the pull-up bar and just hanging in general is a great way to instantly engage the abs. Our arms are overhead once again, all the work is being done overhead, so there's even more work being done by the core, but we can add to it by changing the positioning of our legs in space. Instead of hooking your feet together and bending your knees back, try to just get your legs lifted out in front of you just a little bit. That little bit will engage your abs even a little bit more. And again, not at any real added expense to what you were doing in the first place. You're still doing your pull-ups, you're still training your back, but at the same time now you're incorporating just a little bit more core to what you're doing. And finally, sort of what we're known here for ATHLEAN-X is called integrated ab training. And that's when we talk about putting the core at the core of everything you do. There's no such thing as a non-core exercise here in ATHLEAN-X. We can get your core to work in every single exercise if you know what you're doing. And as a physical therapist, my role here is to make sure that we are letting the core do its job, because the core is so responsible for your stability no matter what exercise you're doing. Here's just a couple examples. We could take a cable crossover that's certainly targeting our chest, but incorporate it in such a way, we call it a 3D crossover, where we get our core actively involved here. We get a lot of work for both our obliques and our abs, and the same thing can be said here with shoulder training. Just by doing a landmine twist, we get this first half of the exercise, which is very, again, combining two elements here, very explosive, and then again, working on sort of integrating our abs with our eventual overhead shoulder press. So I can work on combining movements, and really that's what it's all about here. When you're trying to train like an athlete, you never really move in isolation. You combine muscle groups that are meant to work together, you let them work together. And we have a whole program that does that, guys. Our ATHLEAN-X program literally lays out for you step by step, day by day, exercise by exercise, how to get your core back at the core of everything you do, because it's so important for how eventually you will function. Not necessarily if you have to be an athlete, but if you want to look like one, you're going to have to start doing it. Guys, if you want to start following a program like that, head to ATHLEAN-X.com and get our ATHLEAN-X training system. In the meantime, if you're one of those guys that hates training abs, I just gave you 5 reasons why you can't use that excuse anymore. Leave your comments and thumbs up below, and let me know what else you want to see here. Washboard Wednesday once a week. I'll do my best to cover what you want to see in these future videos. All right, guys, I'll see you again soon.